Yo, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I hope that it is a blessing to anybody that is a parent or looking to be a parent. But do me a big favor, like this video and watch it to the end to answer the question that I ask. Check this out. So I'm making this video for parents, whether you're a mother, a father, doesn't matter, just parents in general, specifically around my age. I'm 38 years old. I got 5 kids, and you ever just wondered, like, man, what was I thinking? What was I thinking when I was younger? Yeah, you don't think about that type of stuff when you are young and dumb, so to speak. Now, I will say that I love all my kids. They are not a mistake. I'm so happy that they're here. They have been a blessing to me and my wife, and I would not have it any other way. But let's talk about parenting. Now, you know, if you're a parent, and I know that kids do not come with an instruction manual. You know, you feel me? They come out of the woman and you see them come out. The only thing that comes out is an umbilical cord and a placenta and a bunch of blood and a bunch of water, and that's it. Like, where's the manual? Like, how do you work this thing? Like, no, that ain't how it is. So, depending on how you were raised, maybe you had a household to where your folks did things a specific way when you were kids, and they had standards and rules, or just a way of raising you. You know, possibly you would have something to remember when it's your time to become a parent. But sometimes you don't have that. You know, unfortunately, some people didn't have mom in their life or dad in their life, or either, and the circumstances just were not. They just weren't the best or ideal for a child. But none of that matters once you bring a kid into the world. So let me, before I continue this video, I just want to say something. If you are gambling with, you know, just having sex and stuff like that, you may want to reconsider. If you're not ready for kids, please reconsider before you decide to procreate, whether it's your intention or not, because kids don't ask to be born. We bring them into the world, so we need to be responsible to doing what we need to do in order to take care of those kids. Okay. So I remember when we brought my son home for the first time. I was about 20, 21 years old, and you know, prior to having him, you know, me and you know, we weren't married at the time, and we were thinking this is what we wanted. We just wanted a kid. Now, I know when I was a teenager that I always wanted a family. I didn't know when that would begin, but I knew that I wanted a family. So when we brought him home, I remember he started crying uncontrollably. He would not stop. And I was like, holy crap, like this kid's like not being quiet, holding him and giving him the pacifier. Nothing's working. At the time, we did not live together. She lived with her parents. And I was like, yep, I gotta go. I'll see you tomorrow. You know, and that just that easy escape as a young, immature parent. So that was what happened the first day I brought him home. And then you know, as time grew, I started realizing that I have to pay more closer attention to his P's and Q's because he can't talk. There's no way to really tell what he wants unless I just look at his body language, go down the checklist. Is he wet? Dirty diaper? Is he hungry? Is he tired? Does he not feel good? Like, these are things they can't communicate with you, but you will have to just figure out because again, they don't come with instructions. Um, we have to have that parent intuition within us to figure out what's wrong with my child. You feel me? So as time went on, I became a lot better with that. The crying stopped bothering me because I'm like, this is my kid. He's crying because he can't talk. So let me figure out why he's crying. And then when I would figure it out, things became better. And, just without harping on one child too much, the other kids came and it was pretty much the same thing. Every pregnancy was different. Every baby phase was a little different, but they were all similar in the same way because babies are babies. And, um, if you're a former a parent or a veteran parent, you really shouldn't have a problem with figuring out, what the issue is with your kids. So if it's one thing that, I think about at this point in my life is I didn't realize when I was younger how long this process would be when it comes to raising kids. You're doing, you're young, you're doing your thing, you're being reckless. You think you know what you want with this baby, but you don't think far, far, far into the future. Like there are phases to parenthood that we have to cross over. And I'm sorry, but nobody that is young thinks that far ahead. No one. You can't. You can't. I didn't. I don't know anybody who did. But it's the reality is that's what it is. It's phases. You have the infant phase, the toddler phase, the little kid phase. Then they start going to school, and the sacrificing it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop because again, kids don't ask to be in this world. They're here. They're our responsibility, and we need to make sure that they get everything that they need from mom and dad, or just mom, or just dad, or whatever the case may be. We have had hospital stays. We have been up late with sick kids. We have been in many, many parent teacher conferences. We have been up to the school. We have been to baseball practices, baseball games. We have been to band recitals. It doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop. And I know that it seems overwhelming and it seems like a lot because I know some people are watching this like, well, what about me? What about the things I want to do? What about, my needs? What about, my fun? And I'm not saying that you can't have fun. And I'm not saying that that does not matter. But again, your child did not ask to be here. You brought them here. So you were obligated to get them what they need and to make sure that their upbringing is as comfortable as possible. Because those of us that are parents, you are raising a citizen of society. Everyone always complains about the state of the world, what's going on in the world, how things are being handled, the people in the world. Like everyone always complains, but nobody thinks about how they can properly contribute to changing that. And the best way, in my opinion, to changing the current trajectory of the world is by raising up better kids. And how we do that is by investing time into them, investing extra curriculum into them, investing godly tendencies and what ways and statutes of life into them, installing love and compassion into them, installing all of the things in which we want to see out of the world into them. And to do that, it takes time. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes intentionality, it takes real parenting. And it's hard. Sometimes you do have to put yourself on the back burner. Sometimes you have to go last. Sometimes you got to go without. Sometimes you're the one that's going to have to sit down while your kids fly or while they go far into the future. Now, I don't know everybody's situation. Everybody's situation is different. We all come from different walks of life. Circumstances are not the same, cultures are not the same. I'm not going to do a one shoe fits all speech here, but I will say that true parenting involves sacrifice from mom and dad for it to be successful. The Bible says that the crown of a man is his grandchildren. Now, in case you don't know what that means, and the older I get, I understand it now. I didn't understand it when I was younger, but I understand it now. When you're a young parent, you're always second guessing yourself. Am I doing enough for my kids? Do I spend enough time with them? Do I show them enough love? Am I being understanding? Am I being comforting to them? Am I consider a safe space for my children, etc.? You constantly going back and forth with whether you're enough for your kids. And when they're young, they can't they don't know what it means to give you confirmation, to say, yes, mommy, you're doing good. Yes, dad, you're doing good. Like they can't do that. But the older that they get, they do start to show signs of the appreciation of your sacrifice, the appreciation of your installment of wisdom and knowledge. They start to give you that affirmation as they age. I always say, if you want to know if you're doing good, look at your children. And if they're smiling, if they are happy, if they seem to be friendly to other kids, you're doing great. You're doing, no matter what you have, it doesn't matter what you have, your possessions, but what you're doing with them, that is entailed the wisdom and the knowledge that you're giving them is doing the right thing, because you can see it in their actions. When the Bible says that the crown of a man is his grandchildren, it means you don't really get to see the fruit, the true fruit of your labor and your kids until you see how your grandchildren come up. When you look at your grandkids, because let's look at it like this. When our children have children, they are their responsibility. Our grandparents out there, you're not supposed to be raising your grandkids. That's supposed to be your kids' responsibility. I'm just gonna say that, but that's a whole nother topic for another video. But grandparents are supposed to sit back and look at how their grandkids are being raised, because it is an illustration of what you poured into your kids being manifested through your grandkids. And when you see that, it brings joy to the heart of the grandfather and the grandmother. It brings happiness to the eyes of the grandfather and the grandmother, because they see what they poured into their kids being manifested through the grandkids. And it's like, ah, it worked. I did great. I did good, you know? So, again, parenting is to me, it's a lifelong event. And even though our kids may grow older into adulthood, it doesn't mean that we stop being parents. Again, that's another video for another time. But you don't stop. Now, I'm not saying enable them. I'm not saying get them out of the fire every time they get in trouble, but the parenting the parenting mystery just shifts differently when our kids age. We're not changing diapers anymore. We're not giving lunch money anymore. We're not paying for football camp anymore. But it may mean that you're giving sound advice. It may mean that you're opening your roof to if your child falls on hard times. It may mean that you loan them some money to get on their feet if they fall out. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. It may mean the constant pouring of wisdom and knowledge, because no matter how old our kids get, parents, we will always be ahead of them. We will always be in the lead because we've been around the sun more times than our children ever will, more than us. So parenting, it evolves. And if you're a new parent, you probably have never thought that far ahead, or you don't think that far ahead, but just be encouraged to continue to do what you need to do for your kids. Love on them, provide for them, take care of them, embrace them, so that they can grow up and emulate that with their own kids. I know that there are some of you out there, hopefully nobody watching this, but maybe you are, some parents that have decided to throw the towel in and say, I don't want to do this anymore. I want my life back. I want to be free. I want to go have fun. I want to travel. I want to party. Look, I'm not saying that you can't party, not saying you can't travel, not saying you can't have fun, but I've been saying this the whole video. When you make that decision to sleep with somebody and a pregnancy is resulted of that, you have to take responsibility and take care of what you have created, and understand that it is no longer just about you, and understand that you have to do what you have to do in tail of taking care of your kids. And you have to be okay with pausing your life for a season of 2 or 3 or however many seasons it takes. At least raise your kids up to be adults before you decide that you want to go buck wild. But take it from me, my oldest is almost 18 years old, and your heart changes, your mind changes, the things you condone change when you have raised up children. A lot of the things you used to do before you had kids, you don't even want to do halfway through raising them anymore. You're like, I don't even know why I did that. What was the point? You start to appreciate things like peace and quiet. You start to appreciate having your own. You just start to appreciate little things. You feel me? But I just wanted to make this video because I know that some of you are first-time parents, or maybe you're like me and you're semi-young or whatever you want to consider 38, and you're like, man, this is so hard. When is this ever going to get easy? And it only gets easy when it's complete, as far as like the infant stages of parenting, which is between, when they're born to 18 years old. But again, parenting never stops. When they are grown, it just changes to a different tune. So yeah, be encouraged, folks. Again, I said it in the beginning of the video that I love my kids. I wouldn't change it for the world. I would do anything for them. When they're grown, if they need me, I'm going to be there. I'm not going to be in a rush to kick my son out when he's 18, because he's not ready for the world yet. And he turns 18 in a couple of months. He's not ready. He is not ready for the world. There's still things that I need to teach him. There's still some maturity that needs to take place. And he can stay with me as long as he wants, until he's ready to take on the world himself. I don't know how parents can kick their kids out at 18 and be okay with that. And a lot of you kick them out for selfish reasons. You kick them out because you're tired of feeding them, because they're expensive. You kick them out because you want peace and quiet. You kick them out so you can continue to do what you were doing before you had them. You say things like, well, I put my time in. It's been 18 years. You can go like, tell me you don't love your child without telling me you don't love your child when you act that way. Okay? So, but this video has been 20 minutes. I hope that it has been informative and a blessing to you all. And parents, comment down below. How long have you been a parent? How has being a parent changed you? And yeah, I'll talk to y'all later. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Peace.